the Blue Ridge Mountains, Georgia. Deep within this mountain range lies Lake Lanier. Millions of people venture to this popular vacation spot to relax and unwind, despite the fact that every year, a shocking number of people drown within its placid waters, and many of their bodies are never seen again.
If you live anywhere near Lake Lanier in North Georgia, you're going to hear every summer all the deaths. There are bad boating accidents, and once somebody goes overboard, it's almost impossible to find them before they drown.
Lake Lanier, from the surface, looks clear, but we hear it time and time again when we respond to these drownings. People that say that he didn't go into the water, come up, struggle, and drown. He went in and never came back up. And this happens time and time again. This lake seems to take people in one gulp.
Lake Lanier is 26 miles long. It has 700 miles of shorefront, and it's tempting to attribute the inordinate number of fatalities to the size of the lake. But the fact is, there are lakes of commensurate size in northern Georgia that don't have half that number of fatalities or accidents. So clearly, there is something about Lake Lanier that is cause for alarm.
Since the 1950s, it is estimated that more than 600 people have lost their lives in Lake Lanier. It is such a staggering number of fatalities that for decades, many have come to believe that these waters may be cursed.
Even though there was a lot of people around, there was just some strange vibe about the lake. I feel it's a majestic body of water, but you can't deny that there's something odd about Lake Lanier.
When you actually get into Lanier, you get a feeling that you're not alone when you should be alone. I don't feel like someone's reaching out to grab me, but the water feels thicker than it should. And what I mean by that is a lady fell out of a boat, and we actually witnessed it. And we ran over there and pulled her out of the water, and she was very upset, and she said, "I'm so embarrassed." And I said, "Don't worry, we see people who do this all the time." And she said, "No, you don't understand, I'm a lifeguard." And she said just when she found herself in that water, it was just like molasses. So all the things that we see in this lake, it finally got so bad and scared the locals so much that we think maybe we're just stuck with a curse we have to live with.
Could the numerous fatalities that have taken place at Lake Lanier be the result of a curse? It may sound far-fetched to some, but for decades, researchers have been examining the possibility that Lake Lanier could be harboring the power to inflict harm. And according to their investigations, it may have something to do with the history of Lake Lanier.
Lake Lanier is the largest lake in Georgia. It's a man-made lake meant to provide water and power to the surrounding communities. They actually made it by flooding a valley that had a town in it, Oscarville. So they had to relocate the people that lived there, and then they just drowned the entire town under water.
Oscarville wasn't the only town that was affected by the building of Lake Lanier. In the 1940s and 50s, the U.S. government acquired the rights to more than 56,000 acres of land in Forsyth, Hall, and Dawson counties to make room for the 38,000-acre lake and more than 700 miles of shoreline. This included several small towns, and the remains of these communities are still submerged beneath the surface of Lake Lanier.
When they built the lake, they left tons of structure in the water. We've got concrete, roads, bridges. We've got a racetrack under there. We've got standing timber that stands as high as 40, 60, 70 feet from the bottom.
There seems to be a great deal of debris in the water, so it's not an ideal place for people to be swimming or boating or jet skiing or partying. The fact is, it's a dangerous place.
Authorities claim that many people drown in Lake Lanier because they get caught in the debris lurking beneath its surface. But researchers studying the lake believe this is only part of the story, and that the source of the dark force drawing people down into its murky depths is a Native American burial ground that was submerged by the lake's construction.
Back in 2007, there was a drought, and the water went way low. And because of that, they found an area called the Samore Mountains, Indian Mountains. It's considered a sacred area that belonged to the Native Americans. The Creeks and the Cherokees. Lake Lanier was built by the Army Corps of Engineers. And according to the Army Corps of Engineers, they removed all the bodies while they were creating Lake Lanier. But back when they were building these lakes, they didn't have ground-penetrating equipment. So there's a great likelihood that there are bodies of the Native Americans under the waters of Lake Lanier.
Could the presence of Native American remains beneath Lake Lanier have a connection to the unusual number of accidental deaths there? Has the Native American belief in the power of ancestral spirits cursed Lake Lanier?
Certainly among Native American traditions, we have a widespread belief in curses, particularly land-based curses. And this connects to an overall sort of belief in animism, that the material world is infused with spiritual aspects. Now, many Native American traditions have long-standing, very deep beliefs about how to treat dead bodies and how not to disturb them, and how not to disturb burial sites. The desecration of those is held in Native communities to bring on a lot of bad spiritual energy.
Is it possible that Lake Lanier is home to dark spiritual energy? Perhaps. But what's most surprising is that even though this lake may be cursed, people continue to enter its waters every day.
There's world-class divers that will not dive Lake Lanier. We have 11 to 14 million people a year that are coming here and taking their chances, in spite of the fact that there has been somewhere between 600 and 700 drownings on this lake. I'm not saying that there's a curse, but I'm saying there's definitely some bad energy. And if it's not cursed, maybe it should be.